What's up, guys? Welcome back to Digital Dive-In. My name is Monkey.
And I'm Goofball.
I'm here playing the brand new DLC for Spider-Man: The Heist, featuring Black Cat and black-suited Spider-Man. Sort of black-suited Spider-Man,
So he's like the Black Panther, but Spider-Man.
basically. It's a red and black suit. It's semi-dope. But anyways, today we're going to be diving into video games and DLC. Specifically, how games implement their DLC. Because a lot of games do DLC very differently. Some games make the DLC just implemented straight into the game, straight into the world, and then others, the DLC is essentially its own world, its own map, its own everything. You have to get out of the main game and go into the DLC campaign.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of
And I
pluses
guess-
and minuses to both.
Yeah, like which one's better,
Yeah.
which one blends better, which one has a
Exactly.
better story campaign. It really depends. Like there's so many different options.
There really
We talked
is.
about The Witcher earlier. Well, first talk about Spider-Man. What did they go with?
Well, yeah, with Spider-Man, they went the route of basically making the DLC its own standalone thing. Like, you can start the DLC whenever you want, which is how most DLCs work, but you have to get out of the main story, the main game, and into the DLC, which is literally its own separate thing. Like, I don't even think, like, looking at the map right now, the only thing that is included in the DLC version, or the DLC campaign, I guess you can call it, are landmarks and backpacks. Other than that, there are no, like, as of right now, there's no crime, like random crime stuff from the main game. There's no collectibles except for the backpacks. There's no like the bases that they had for Fisk and the demons and all that stuff. There's none of those in this version of the game. It's literally just DLC exclusive stuff.
Is it the same map at least?
Oh
Like,
yeah,
is it like
it's still New York. It's still New York City. It's the
Okay.
same. It's the exact same map. It's just there's nothing from the main game except for backpacks and landmarks.
That's kind
So
of weird, but you know,
that's.
whatever.
I mean, it gets. I already know it's going to get filled up with stuff from this DLC. Like they said that there's going to be unique crime and unique challenges and stuff like that.
Is it supposed to be a different time frame, or is this kind of
It's
no
supposed to be
time
after. It's supposed to be after the events of Spider-Man.
gotcha? Well, hey, maybe you did such a good job crime fighting that there's no more crime in the city.
Well, I
Good
mean,
work, Patrick.
I
You saved
did
the
like
city.
I did 100% this game,
MJ,
except for the
looks like your
secret
source
photos. I haven't done that yet.
Exactly.
I'm working
Those
on those.
Automagia, they play for
So, but everything else I 100%ed on the game. Either they were like expecting people to 100% the game, and for that reason they didn't include anything in this version, or this is just supposed to be its own standalone thing and not be in any relation to the base game, which I don't know. It kind of takes away from the immersion aspect of it.
Yeah, it's like there's less to do, so you're kind of just stuck on the main mission.
Yeah. Well, I know they're gonna add certain like new side missions and stuff once you progress into the DLC, because the DLC is essentially its own like story. You know, it's not just a few extra missions and stuff like that. Like it's a full-fledged thing.
Oh,
But at
that's
the
good.
same-
I
But
know.
at the same time, like
But what's your preferred DLC? Like, how would
My-
you prefer the DLC to come out?
in my opinion, the one game that did DLC perfectly, and I mean content, the way they implemented it, how they released it, and everything, was The Witcher 3. The Witcher 3 was one. It's like an immaculate game on its own, but the way they did the DLC was just beautiful because everything was completely integrated into the overall world. You could go do it whenever you wanted to. Now, of course, you will probably get fucked up really quickly because the enemies are insanely strong in that DLC. But I mean, you could literally go do it whenever you wanted to. They just added to the map. They just add locations you can just go and do it. They added new side characters. There's a bunch of new hunts, new side missions. Expansions themselves added like 10 plus hours to the game. And that was each expansion. So
Yeah.
it added up to like 20 plus hours for the both expansions, which I thought was freaking insane. Like, that's just ambitious as hell, but it worked and it was amazing.
I mean, I like that type of DLC also. Kind of like the Grand Theft Auto where they just add it to what's already there.
Yeah.
But I really prefer when they, like what Fallout 4 did, like the first DLC. It was Automatron pack, and same map, just added to it. Nothing different. You know,
Yeah.
you just little more things to do on that map. And then by doing it, you learn more about that map, and you're like, okay, that was cool. What's next? They dropped Far Harbor, I believe, was the next big one.
Yeah.
And it was still like the access point was on the main map. However, once you got there and you got the missions set up, you then left the main map and went to a different map. And that was cool because it added a completely new area for you to explore, which I enjoyed. And then finally they came out with the Nuka World, which was just kind of like a new map completely. I don't remember specifically how it led it up to it. I believe it had like an actual access point on the main map, but it wasn't as smooth of a transition as Far
Yeah.
Harbor was.
Far
Which is kinda
Harbor
like, hey,
was so well done.
yeah, that was
I
incredible.
loved Far Harbor. Far Harbor was freaking beautiful.
Hey, what is that?
Yeah, so definitely that's my preferred. It kind of gives you a hybrid of everything.
Exactly.
MJ,
I like
wanna
that
roll in
too
the
because
I'm gonna check it
it
out.
just like it just flows better. It just keeps the immersion aspect going, and that's what I love to see.
I know Ghost Recon Wildlands had something similar too, where they did a
Yeah.
bunch of DLC, and they were alternate missions, but
Mhm.
then they also dropped stuff in the main campaign as kind of like teasers. They had
Yeah.
the Predator hunt, they had the Sam Fisher mission, and they had a Rainbow Six Siege homage by bringing some of the characters from that game
Yeah, I
into
remember that.
Wildlands. And there was like
Yeah,
a
and
little
that
mission with that as well.
all those DLCs implemented right into the main game, right?
Yeah. Well,
There was
yes. The main DLC, they were like the different missions. They were different. Like, you actually didn't access them in the game. You had to access them on the main menu.
Need a
But
blueprint
it
again.
kind of made sense because if you think about who you were playing as, which was like a special forces
Is that a guard's hand?
kind of, well, it was a ghost squad. It didn't really
yeah.
exist. It kind of felt like, all right, well, we did that mission, and now we just got tasked with another mission.
Oh,
So you're
yeah,
going
good
somewhere
idea.
else
Yeah.
because it wasn't the same map. It was kind of in the same general location. Like the one was the Himalaya or the Peruvian connection, I
Mhm.
think, where you were in the mountains between Peru and Bolivia. And so it wasn't the same map, but you knew you were in the same area working on the
Yeah.
same job. And then they had Fallen Ghost, which was the same map, but you were fighting all. It was supposed to be after the campaign,
Got a
and
handprint.
you were now
Well,
the hunted.
part of one.
Yeah, of
Like
course.
there was a
Looks like I'll need
special
more.
group of special forces soldiers tasked specifically to hunt you
It's
down,
like the guards just
and you had to
vanished.
take them out.
Now, where
So,
can I find some more partial prints?
again, same map, just different
Yeah, of
missions,
course.
different enemies, but still equally as well done. It was just as fun. Campaign was shorter, but it
Mhm.
was more campaign, so I appreciated it.
Yeah, anytime they give you more campaign is really, really great.
Like especially with nowadays where you buy the season pass for the price of a completely different game, it's nice that they add twice as much game to what you're getting
Exactly.
for it. Like, I know a lot of people complain about the season passes, but personally, my opinion is if the company's gonna release more game that's just as good, if not better, then I'll pay the season pass.
Oh, absolutely. Like as long as the DLC is actually actually looks worth it, then yeah, I'll get the deals or I'll get the season pass no matter what.
Yeah,
Like
like
I got it
Call
for
of Duty.
Origins. I loved it. I got it for this game because I knew I was gonna want everything that came with this game for Spider-Man.
Yeah, but like Call of Duty season pass, like you just get more maps.
Yeah,
Sometimes it's
I was
good,
never into
sometimes
the
not.
I was never into the DLC for the Call of Duty games. I was like,
Yeah, I don't see that as worth $60.
No, I really don't either. Because it's just, you know, it's just more of the same. I'm just like, okay, if I want to play the same, like, I don't need more maps, honestly. Like, yeah, it's fun, but I could do without,
It's
honestly.
not. Yeah,
I could
it's
do
just
without.
another map.
Exactly. Now,
So.
really, honestly, the only time I actually get DLC is for a single player game that adds, like, so much great shit to the story.
Yeah, if that's,
And that's why I was,
that makes sense.
that's why I was super hyped for this, because I was like, yeah, this is gonna be great. I know it's gonna be great.
Yeah, and it was great. And that's how I feel with Red Dead. Like, I'm buying the Ultimate Edition, although I don't even think it has a season pass. I think Rockstar is kind of clinging to that whole... Yeah, I think Rockstar is clinging to that whole free DLC, which I love.
Yeah, I think they're doing
It's
that too,
definitely...
especially with the Red Dead Online and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I don't think... Rockstar hasn't really put out any DLC that takes the cake like other companies do.
The only DLC that I actually remember from the first Red Dead was Undead Nightmare, and that was awesome. And
Yeah,
if they
that was
release
incredible.
anything like that for this game, oh, I'm so in.
Oh, yeah.
If
Well, they didn't do
release-
anything like that for Grand Theft Auto. They just kind of
didn't.
added to the online features.
Yeah, which was okay, but you also had to pay for those too.
No, you didn't. Nope,
you
they were
didn't?
free.
Everything was free?
Nope. Everything GTA 5 came out with was free.
Skyrim ever have any DLC? I forget.
No?
Oh no, they did have some DLC. That's right. They had a few things. Why do I keep dropping? It wasn't a whole lot, but it was enough that it was actually worth it because they had the Hearthstone and something with vampires, and they had a bunch of that stuff, and it was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, I remember the vampire one, and the werewolf was already.
There's one
that
implemented like the whole like getting married and getting a house and stuff like that, and I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah, I remember.
But all that, like, again, all of that was implemented into the base game.
Yeah.
And for a game like that, it almost had to be.
Definitely.
You know, because you can't just have like a game as big as Skyrim and then have DLC that goes outside the game. That would be super weird. One thing I wanted to ask that I thought was always interesting. Oh, whoops, I got spotted. When it comes to like what DLC includes and stuff like that, like what do you like in a DLC? Like what makes a good DLC?
I think if the campaign has something that kind of raises questions, then a good DLC answers those questions. I honestly can't think of one off the top of my head, but I know I was playing one game and there was a background, there was something about the main story that was just confusing. And it was like, well, what's the story behind that?
Mm-hmm.
So when the game takes the time to make a DLC to explain that, I really appreciate it.
Yeah. One game, and this is a perfect example of what you're talking about, Assassin's Creed Origins, their very first DLC for their game was called The Hidden Ones, and it literally took off directly after the events of the base game. And it basically just expanded upon what happened at the end of the campaign.
That's right. That's exactly what I was talking about.
Like it was literally, like they created the what was it? They created like the Assassin Brotherhood essentially.
A little squad.
Yeah, and then the Hidden Ones expansion literally expanded upon that. Like it showed how they started out and what they were doing as the Hidden Ones, and it was really great. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I really appreciated that. Now the rest of the DLCs were kind of meh, because it was all like, you know, fantasy stuff and dealing with.
Yeah, what
boss.
was it?
I
The
think
Fallen Gods update.
Yeah, you fought like the
That was
Egyptian gods and stuff, and I was like, yeah, that's
That was
cool.
fun.
Yeah, that's cool. That's pretty badass. But
Yeah, and that's another. That was
like,
going to be my next
I was-
example of a DLC I like.
I was just like,
Is when
meh.
it's like, yeah, I like DLC when it's kind of off the wall and it's just fun. It's not
Yeah,
like
no. Yeah, but like for Assassin's Creed, like I wasn't super hyped about the whole
Yeah, that
gods
would've
thing.
been better for, like,
I love the Hidden
like a
Ones. The
Kratos.
Hidden Ones was dope.
yeah, I think that was Assassin's Creed's attempt to try and take a stab at Kratos, but it didn't quite work as well.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a little bit weird. But no, the Hidden Ones is really dope.
That's one of my favorite ones. The other one, obviously, just doing some fun, off-the-wall shit that isn't something you normally would do. I guess the third one is just when they do updates to improve the game as is. Like, if you're playing, you're like, oh wow, this is fun, but it'd be so cool if I had a rocket launcher that shot flame marshmallows, and then boom, update, flaming marshmallow rocket launcher.
Yeah, right?
Or some crazy shit, like just fun stuff. What was the game? It was one of the Saints Row games, and they came out with a DLC. They had some good DLC actually. Also, they had the Saints Row, I want to say 4, and then they had Gat Out of Hell.
Oh
which is where you went.
yeah.
It was like a
That was
kind of the
sweet.
same map, but you know.
The thing with me, when it comes to DLC, like, I appreciate an expansion more than just plain DLC.
Yeah, that's a good way to
'Cause-
put it.
Because when it comes to just like, when it comes to like DLC and stuff, like, I want something that's actually gonna drive the story even further, not just give me extra shit to do. Like, I don't like, if I want extra shit to do, I'll just replay the game again.
Yeah, or just do all the 100% completion. Yeah, like Call of Duty, and really all of those type of games, like Star Wars Battlefront 2 is a good example. Call
Yeah.
of Duty.
Yeah, their
It's,
DLCs
even
were
Black Ops, I kind of get tired of it.
Shooter DLC, I think, is just played out. Honestly, it's just a money grab. I mean, most DLC is a money grab. Let's be honest. But first-person shooter DLC and stuff like that. I think the only DLC I actually liked from a Call of Duty game was stuff for like the zombies, because that was actually
Yeah, well,
fun.
that was a story that they tried to develop, kind of.
Exactly.
But no,
They
like
did-
I was gonna say, is like the shooter games and stuff. Like honestly, by the time the last DLC drops, I've already lost interest, and I don't even download the final DLC. Yeah, it's out, but I've already moved on. Like it's just more of
Exactly.
the same.
Exactly.
Whereas with RPGs, I pretty much buy the season pass every single time I buy the game.
As long as the DLC actually adds some, you know, substance to the game, and it's not just, you know, extra for the sake of extra, I think it's a good idea. So far, this DLC is actually not too bad, but
MJ, I just ran into
it's
an old
just,
friend.
you know, more of the same stuff we did in the base Spider-Man game. We'll have to see how, if Red Dead 2 implements any DLC. I really kind of hope we get another, like, Undead Nightmare type of thing, because that was super dope. And I wouldn't mind playing that again. Or, like, an
A Red
updated
Dead
version.
Nightmare would be good. If they did like an alien thing, I'd be a little upset.
Well, I mean, if they did, like, the whole Cowboys and Aliens thing, that would be kind of funny.
They're definitely gonna do aliens then. But hopefully they add the story. I know they write not too long ago they cut like 5 or 6 hours
I know.
of story out.
I mean, it's still 60 plus hours, so I mean, I'm not too worried
Yeah.
about it.
Well, I guess the reason why they cut it out is because it was going to be a forced gameplay where you pretty much fall in love and
Yeah,
get
I can
married.
see it.
And they pulled that out because you can generically do it in the game and not have it forced. So they were like, it's still there, it's just not forced. You have the option to do it.
Yeah,
Which,
I like
you know,
that.
if they're going for super realism, I think's a good
Maybe
thing
I
to
don't
do.
want to get married. Maybe I want to make my guy gay. Fuck you.
Maybe he's a eunuch.
Brokeback
Has no need
Mountain,
for
this
it.
bitch.
There you go. Me and the boys when Red Dead drops.
I love those memes so much.
Oh yeah.
But anyways, guys, let us know what your thoughts are about DLC and your favorite DLC, and let us know your favorite method of having DLC in the game. Please do so down in that comment section below. If you like this video, please slam that like button.
Super slam.
And if you want to see more of us diving into the latest news surrounding TV, video games, and movies, and giving our opinionated pieces as well, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, so you get notified whenever our videos go live. Phil, thank you so much for talking DLC and dealing with me while I try to struggle through Spider-Man.
And thank you for having me.
Oh my god. Ladies and gents, stay excellent, and we will see you in the next dive-in.